Hey guys, RussLyman here, and welcome to the replay of the Connecticut YouTubers panel from Retro World Expo. If you guys couldn't make it out to the show this past weekend, or if you just want to watch it again, I recorded most of the panel that I myself, Mike Levy, Culture Dog, and John Delia from RetroWare TV did the panel on Sunday at 2 p.m. It was a panel about being a local YouTuber, how we all got started, and some kind of tips and tricks for doing YouTube. Now, my battery actually ran out on this camera here, so I didn't get the entire panel, but I got a majority of it. It's about 45 minutes or so. So, without further ado, enjoy the panel. Russ, what you doing?
Hey, Russ, what you doing?
Let's find out.
I should have grabbed some water. I'm gonna grab some water.
Okay.
Not sure.
Start without me.
You sure? All right. Well, hey, welcome. Thanks for showing up to the panel. It's just a Connecticut YouTubers panel, kind of like a Q&A sort of thing. I'll talk about our history and how we got started and everything, and that's pretty much it.
Am I on?
Oh, you're not on it.
That sums it up, yeah.
So you want to go right to left?
Sure.
Starting with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're on the right. Spoilers.
Hi guys, so I'm RussLyman. I do YouTube. I work at Retro Games Plus, that's in Connecticut, and they help put on the convention here. Chris, the owner, work at the Orange location. And if you guys are wandering around the con, my car is parked in the back. I got a Super Mario car. It's got a blue shell on the top. Can't miss it. It's the only one in here.
Wait, there's not an additional?
No.
No?
I took them out on the way in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing YouTube for a good couple of years. Funny backstory, a couple of years ago, maybe about 3 years ago, I went to Too Many Games with I met Mike there.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out and talking YouTube because I always watched Mike's channel. And me and him and Adam, Square Painter, went back to the hotel to hang out and chat.
Right.
And Adam was telling me, yeah, I seen some of your videos, because I wasn't uploading regularly. And he's like, you really should get out there and put more content on, and your stuff's good. And that kind of helped motivated me to, maybe I should really put more effort into it. And
That's cool.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I put out weekly videos every Tuesday. I do a vlog video from the video game store I work at, and kind of like show what trade-ins come through the store, and then if I can upload another video that week too, maybe a game review, or I have a few other series where I read manuals from the games called Russ's Retro Reads, kind of a fun concept.
Like those World of Power books?
Yeah,
those are fun.
So yeah, any ideas that I can get, just keep pushing and try to keep my content high quality, and yeah.
Yeah, cool. So my name is Mike Levy, and I go by Miketendo online. My channel is youtube.com/dongled. Or just dongled. If you type in the name of the main show that I do is a show called Dude, You Haven't Played This Game. It's a video game review show. I like to call it edutainment, if you will. It's goofy, stupid, fun humor with my own personal humor, and which we'll talk about as far as directing your own channel and everything, and what direction you want it to go in. But I've been doing that for probably about, how long has it been? 5 years? 6 years?
I would say probably 6.
I think 6 years, yeah. In January, I think it would be 6 or 7. I was inspired by HVGN, Happy Video Game Nerd. What's his name? He's on RetroWare, or he was. He never makes videos. 8-bit Gen, 16-bit Gen.
Oh yeah, Joey.
Rue. If you guys want a
Joey's
awesome
retired.
channel, he does such there's him and HVGN. There are videos that they have put out that they've reviewed games that I'm like, I love this game. I'd love to review it. I'll never be able to top their video, so I just don't review it.
Yeah, I used to tell Joey that too. I was like, I'm not making videos anymore, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just I can't.
Tapping out.
I'm not. You've covered it from a historical point of view.
Yeah.
And then I look at like Corey and Triforce doing My Life in Gaming, and I'm like, oh my god, all right.
Yeah. So I do that.
It's inspirational, but
I do a video game music podcast. It's called Pixel Tunes Radio, and we're approaching our 100th episode very soon. So I also do a show called Gaming Linguistics, which I just started fairly recently. All this is on the channel, by the way, and that is essentially like how to pronounce certain things. Like everyone says wise, it's not wise, it's ease. That's the proper pronunciation. Zexes is another one I did. Or Zexes.
Stynex.
I haven't done a Stynex, but somebody called me out on one of my old reviews.
Yeah.
Where I did a Stynex. And I pronounce it like Astyanax or something like that.
Or Fazanadu.
Yeah. Well, it's technically Fazanadu, but it's Fazanadu. Come on. But yeah, I do that, and then I do another show called Noob Repair, which is like how to do repair stuff and other stuff like with video games, like how to store games, how to do this or that, just stuff like that where it doesn't require any soldering. That's the key I wanted to focus on, because there's so much stuff that people try to fix and they're like, how do I do this? So it's like simple stuff like that, but that's it. That's my channel.
What's up? I'm Odd Man Out. I'm the token movie guy here. My name's Sam Hatcham. I have a show called Culture Dog, and I was a Connecticut radio guy for the longest time and didn't have a good camera, didn't have a smartphone, just pretty much an idiot when it came to a camera. And then finally I got one and said I'll start up a YouTube channel. So youtube.com/culturedog is it. Started up about 4 or 5 years ago, and do a lot of stuff about Laserdisc, so there's a little bit of a gaming connection there. But Blu-ray reviews as well, and I have a podcast called Laser Discotheque, where we nerd out hardcore about old laser discs and things like that, and it's a good time for sure.
You're also an Opeth fan, so
I am an Opeth fan.
You've got my vote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, my name is John Delia. I've been doing YouTube, keep it YouTube-centric for, I guess, 11 years. I started my own account, so I think the very first video I ever put on YouTube was the implosion of the New Haven Coliseum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've seen that video.
Yeah.
It's that of course has nothing to do with video games. But then the next year, Lance Cortez and I started RetroWare TV, and we started the YouTube channel, and that's where we've put everything ever since. We just launched the Video Game Years YouTube channel as well for any future content, but right now it's all on RetroWare's page, as well as the as well as on Amazon Prime now. But I've had a love-hate relationship with YouTube. I can go on about.
I think we all could.
Yeah, I started back when it was like, well, this was even before this is when you could just upload whatever the hell you wanted. Like pre-Google YouTube was when I started, so it was, like 200 megabyte limit, 10 minutes, 240p. Try making video game reviews that fit within that, and they look like garbage. So there's a lot of legacy stuff on there, but YouTube was behind the times, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, and then other sites started propping up, so we would focus a lot more. We've been around for 10 years. We have about 52,000 subscribers, which it's great, but after 10 years, it should be more than that. But because we did not make YouTube our focus for a long time, and we paid for it for that reason. But I'll be happy to answer questions.
The piggybacking off that, the whole thing with the subscribers and the analytics and all that, I think it's just so much has changed when it comes to YouTube. So it's like you can't do what a lot of people still do, what they tried to do, 7, 8, 10 years ago or whatever, and you just can't now. It depends. It depends on what your goal is. If your goal is, I want to be big, that's big is like, okay, vlogs,
I drank lean at the party last night.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Like vlogs and stuff like, this is what happened in gaming today. Basically, like open up IGN and Kotaku and then go through their list of stuff and find something you want to talk about and then talk about it and then just upload literally every day or almost every day. That's so key. And
I was going to say, I miss old YouTube where they have video response.
Yeah.
Because I would just have my laptop with the web camera and you'd just be watching a video and you're like, I want to respond to this guy. And you could just hit record.
Yeah, video
There's like no editing and it's just like, hey, here's my top 3 games that I like. Top 3 Tuesday.
Yeah, top 3 Tuesday. Yeah, with Michael B. the Game Genie. That was awesome. Yeah. But I was going to say that, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't say it's taken a turn for the worse. It's just taken a turn, like a different turn. And I feel like people's attention spans now are completely different than the pre-YouTube world. Like most of my reviews are very in depth. They're anywhere between 10 and close to 30 minutes. So they're not like, I spend probably about a month doing one episode for the most part.
You add all backstory and dress up and. So
I do like costumes and goofy stuff like that. So like, I'm providing my own budget. And that's kind of what you have to do when you don't have like. I also don't monetize either, which that's a whole nother topic. Like a lot of people, they monetize and they try to, I have friends on YouTube that try to make as much money as possible on YouTube, and you kind of can't now, especially with all the limitations that they have. So it's like, you try to put out I have friends who are like, oh, I just did a Resident Evil video, and it got pulled, or the monetization was ridiculous. So now you can't put anything without it getting flagged in your tags. So it's like, how are people supposed to find the videos to watch them so that way you can earn money off of them? So,
you're almost better off making money, pushing it more towards like merch, shirts, DVDs.
Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon's the big one. I just started. I had a Patreon account for almost 3-4 years because I set it up and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe people will donate a little bit. And I threw it up there, and then I was like, I wasn't comfortable asking for money, so I was like, I'm just gonna shelve this. Like, I thought I deleted it. And then I found out, I belong to a group called Multitapped. It's kind of like retroware, a little bit, but like way more ghetto. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but because I love all my buddies at Multitapped. But we were talking in a Discord chat, and they were like, oh, we were talking about like Patreon subscribers, and they're like, yeah, did you know that you have a Patreon subscriber? I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, yeah, you do. And I was like, because I disabled everything, like all the emails and all that, all the notifications and nonsense like that. Somebody was donating $2 a month for like almost 2 years. And I never reached out to them, and I felt terrible. So I reached out to the guy. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't acknowledge the fact that, you've been giving me money this whole time. So I had like 40-something bucks in there for doing just everything that I've been doing. So I was kind of like, oh, thanks. So I kind of like revamped.
So you sent him flowers or something with the $30?
No. So that's just, if you want to stay on top of stuff like that, just like turn off monetization, and that's just my opinion. Yeah. It's just.
I haven't even checked what old stuff we have that got flagged lately. I mean, I know that's all been a huge issue.
Yeah, old stuff has been getting flagged.
Yeah.
Sucks. They'll find you eventually.
Yeah. No, because I was monetizing years and years and years ago. Because that's the thing, when you start with YouTube, you're like, I'm going to be huge. I'm going to be AVGN. And then like nobody's watching, and then you're like, oh. You're like, oh, that sucks. So it's like you gotta kind of get that wake up call when it comes to, like, if you do want to make videos, you gotta get that wake up call. It's so important to get that like right off the bat. So do not start a YouTube channel nowadays if you want to be big. You have to start a YouTube channel for you, and that you have to work on making your videos as, if you want to watch your video at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like, I don't make videos for people who watch anymore. I make them for me. And so if I'm cool with watching my own stuff, then I feel like everybody else should. And if they don't, that's fine. It's not your bag, whatever. But that's how YouTube should be, in my opinion. That's kind of the message, is like getting your own voice out, getting your own voice heard. So
yeah, that's what it was 10 years ago. It's just no monetization. It was just making something and seeing if we had people like us out there that cared as much about, the Sega Master System version of Ninja Gaiden, or Double Dragon for the PC Engine. The most random, obscure stuff, and put our heart and soul into it. Spend an insane amount of time, and then see if you find people that you can connect with. And when that happens, it's great. It's such a great, satisfying feeling when you find somebody that like really appreciates what you did, or like really gets what you were trying to do.
Yeah. The more of a niche it is, sometimes too, people just really are enthralled by the fact that you covered it. Yeah. How do you guys handle comments or the social media aspect of it? Do you respond, or you just kind of let them happen?
It depends. There's a lot of critique that I get for certain aspects. Like, I have an intro that's probably like maybe 30 seconds long, and I've trimmed it, like it was like 45 seconds, and I trimmed it to 40 seconds, and 35 seconds, and now I'm at 30 seconds. And it's like, if I'm trying to tell you what my show's about with like funny stuff or music or whatever, I have to give you 6 years worth of content in less than 30 seconds. So a lot of people don't understand that. So to me, what I like to do, and this is probably not a good idea, but I do, if people like, oh, you know, you have a 30-second intro that's way too long, I just make jokes in my videos about that. So like, I'll write it in the scripts. I write out scripts and everything for my episode. Everything is scripted. So I'll have like either myself or an actor or whoever I'm playing or whatever, we'll just throw in like a random joke, like, you know, can we just skip this and like get to the show? Like, can you just let's get to the review? So like, I kind of tackle things like that, just because it's dude, if you don't want to watch it, it's totally fine. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's what I've been trying to say, to tell people, is my best advice is just make videos for you and let all the rest fall into place. Like, I would never dream of being up here, you know, even a year after I started. But then once, you know, you got to kind of put in the work. You know, the quality should matter first for your channel. So
especially if you go in depth, people will give you hell for that. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But on the flip side,
or if you miss stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if it's too short. It's like, well, it wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
She went more into depth.
Yeah. No, the big complaint that I get is the videos are too long. So, and you know, I still put out like 2, 3, 4, 5 minute videos in between then, just to filler content with all those other shows that I was talking about before. But the big reviews themselves are like, you know, they take a while. I want to get the message across with what I have to say, and it's not filler. It's actually content that I think that people would generally be interested in, and if they're not, they're not. So how do I handle YouTube comments? I usually reply with a snarky remark. Yeah. Or
you ever fall? Yeah, I usually ignore as much as I can the negative stuff, and I'll respond to nice stuff once in a while, but. Every once in a while I get in that mood where I'm just gonna like
tear it down.
I'm just gonna all right, I'm going in and I'm tearing down for a while. I'm gonna see how this goes for fun. But don't take them too seriously, you know. You can't take it's too easy to engage.
I actually am really nice to people who
that's what I do. I just like kill them with kindness.
Oh,
yeah, that's how you do it.
Or I'll just ask generally, like, people will be like, what a long effing stupid review. And I'll be like, I'm really sorry to hear that you didn't like the review, man. Like, what was it about the review that you didn't like? Radio silence. Yeah. So that's kind of how we deal with stuff like that. You gotta you're putting yourself out there to an audience of just strangers. So you're gonna get people who are gonna troll you and are not gonna be happy about what you do.
Yeah. You're just gonna crap in your front yard and move on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I do like, on my show, I do the weekly vlog video, and I think it's important to kind of acknowledge your audience and the people that do take the time to comment. So every week I highlight a comment from the previous week's video. So I'm like, this week's comment shout out goes to this YouTuber, and I'll say what they said in the comment and kind of respond to it. So then they want to watch you next week. Like, is he going to shout me out next week? Did you like my comment?
Yeah.
You just get that better interaction with your audience.
Yeah. You want to open it up for Q&A?
Yeah.
Anybody have a question? Yeah.
How do you deal with negative feedback outside of YouTube?
Oh, like people coming up to you at a con or something like that?
Like my wife yelling at me? Like, what do we
About your videos. I recently had one for my video where a guy said he hated my review because he thought he deserved a 4 out of 5. I said, well, you want a bullshit review, but he gave you a bullshit review, but I gave you an honest review.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you make your point across and you deal, like, I'm kind of an advocate for reviewing games that I think don't get a fair shot. So like, one game that I really want to review is Golden Axe Beast Rider for the Xbox 360 and I think PS3. And that's like a game that I remember reading like one review that was like, this game is great, and the people that say it's not did not play the game all the way through. And then I actually kind of sat down and played the game myself after reading that review, and I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty good game. Like, it's not bad. It's different. It's weird. It's way different than the original Golden Axe, but like, it's pretty cool. So like, there's stuff like that I'd love to do. But as far as negative feedback goes, like, people are gonna disagree with your opinion.
Yeah.
I tend to review games that have very polarizing opinions, like Metroid Other M, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, stuff like that. on the channel, and just if I love something and somebody else doesn't, that's fair, you know. It's
So just not take it to heart.
yeah, you're gonna get
Yeah.
people that don't like stuff, so
I just
Yeah,
shut it
I
off
know.
in the end.
yeah, pretty much.
There's gonna be more people that I think that will, agree with you, and then just focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I interact mostly only on Twitter. Like I miss YouTube comments most of the time. I mean, again, I've been an awful YouTuber. I mean, we've
Step up your game, man.
we've been. We came in a time we started off when hub sites like RetroWareTV.com made sense.
Right.
You know, there was a way to bring people together with like-minded groups. But now it's YouTube is where you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we bounced from YouTube to Rever.
I think I stopped sending request uploads.
Dude, I am so behind on those.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I have seriously every morning I look at my inbox and there it is. It says 45. That red 45 means there are user submissions I haven't gotten to. So yeah, but
that's so key. I remember you guys used to do the featured
the featured the weekly
and that
feature.
that was hugely helpful for me at least. I remember the very first review that I ever had up there was Midnight Resistance, and you guys plugged that one, and I got so much feedback from that, and people loved it. So it was kind of like that.
It's still going. I gotta keep moving on with it because
it's tough.
It's the best thing about RetroWare now.
Yeah.
It's all the people that send emails to us to say, "Can you post this?" or
Yeah.
"What do you think?" And then when we do, it helps a little bit,
Definitely.
and that's the best feeling that we've done with that. But yeah, I only interact on Twitter to most comments, and if they're good comments or if there's a real concern, like I had one just a couple days ago, which I think I responded to today, which was, why is everyone a white guy in the video game years?
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Wow.
I mean, that's true, and it was true at the time. It's not like we didn't notice, and it was we didn't intend for that to be the case. It was just the people we could get, but and I honestly said we would fix that in future episodes because it doesn't make sense. We should have more females, not just one. People from different backgrounds, that would be good.
Yeah.
Instead of doughy white guys. And
Some white guys are the best. Though.
yeah, they seem to know a lot about video games.
They
Right?
do, yeah.
But
And food, yeah. Sometimes both at the same time. Yeah, it's tough to it's tough for people of color, different sexual orientations. Women, men, doesn't really matter. People of different colors and everything. It's tough, even more so for them to get their voice heard. Unfortunately, because it's people go online and they'll toss these terrible comments. Some of the female reviewers that I'm friendly with that I see on YouTube, and you look at their comments section,
Yeah,
and
that
they
stuff
put in
sucks.
just as much
Yeah.
work as all of us. And their comment section is just trash. It's just oh, she's so hot, blah, 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 she's ugly. And it's that's so terrible. You got to really feel bad for them. So, I always try to throw support their way and try to let people know about their channel and everything and hope that, if they get 1 out of 5, instead of 4 out of 5 comments, maybe 1 out of 5 comments is negative. So, or just not cool,
Yeah.
You?
I mean, I came in late. I assume you're all gaming YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Movie guy.
Yeah.
So you knew what audience you wanted to attract going into your channels. But did you start out knowing your audience, or did you just start making YouTube videos about the type of games you like, or the movies, or etc., and then the audience just found you? Was that a big focus making your YouTube channel?
My audience found me. I just went and did it for myself because I thought I'm probably the only guy that wants to watch this video. And it turned into a small but extremely fervent community. And they found me, and it kind of, I was the one idiot that actually responded to every single comment pretty much, unless it was absolute trolling and obvious.
Yeah.
And that kind of blossomed. I was really actually surprised at the social media aspects of YouTube, and there's been a lot of guys that are just stuck with it ever since. And yeah, I was surprised. I didn't know there was going to be that many people out there into it.
yeah, we were when we made our first videos, Lance and I were the audience. We were like, well,
Yeah.
we're making this for us, just like you said. I'm making this for me.
Yeah.
And this was, not everyone had Facebook then, and not everybody had Twitter. Twitter didn't exist.
Right.
And social media was still kind of finding its legs, but YouTube was a social network. And then all of a sudden, there are a lot of, it was hard to believe that a lot of other people cared this much about these obscure topics or things that we were talking about, and that was invigorating. It was awesome. It made us, okay, well, let's do some more.
I came in the, I guess the mid part of YouTube kind of changing for the most part. And so the videos that I were making, I didn't know what I wanted to make. I graduated with a journalism degree, and so I knew I had all this experience like writing, and ended up writing for like RetroCollect.com and a couple other like various websites. I wrote for a magazine in Europe called Pixel Nation magazine, which only lasted like 2 issues or whatever. And I just kind of kept doing that, like freelancing with an emphasis on free, and ended up just, I went to a panel very similar to this one, and it was at MagFest, and Derek Alexander was there, and he was talking about making movies and his reviews and everything. And I loved his show, and I was just like it really inspired me to kind of sit down and be like, you know what, I've been tinkering with the idea of making a show, I'm gonna make a show. And that's when I started working on Dude, You Haven't Played This Game, and that terrible name. That's another like in joke, like, everyone's like, oh, you're naming your shows too long. Or like, where are you again? How do I find you? And they just mispronounce the name of the show, and it's fine. You kind of like learn from your mistakes. So like my first probably 6 or 7 episodes at least were awful, especially the first episode. It's like one of those things where you're so embarrassed by what you put out, and you tried so hard to be somebody else that you didn't be yourself. And that was like, I learned that was the number one rule that I learned from. The number one mistake is do not be anybody else, be yourself. That's the thing. So
I'd say when I started, basically I didn't want to make a channel to make videos. I made a YouTube channel so I could respond to videos that I watched.
Yeah.
So that's why
goes out there too.
Yeah. My YouTube channel is just my name. It wasn't something gaming related. So I was like, I'll just put RussLyman just so I could respond to people. And I would upload every few months. And then I'm watching Game Chasers, Angry Video Game Nerd, and all that. And I was like, I could take a camera to Goodwill and film it and put something together, and slowly evolve. And I like doing DIY stuff. And I try to make it gaming related, whereas I have the Mario car, so I was like, all right, I'm making a custom shift knob, but it's a Mega Man helmet or something like that.
Yeah, you do some really cool like do-it-yourself type videos.
Yeah, so my audience it's not strictly gaming. Maybe it's someone that wants to do DIY stuff, or I started the vlog, so maybe people just like to see what's going on in my daily life. So it's a wide range.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Go back to your long videos.
Yeah.
Now that YouTube is putting more of an emphasis on watch time, like what is a good length for a single video?
Oh, don't look at your watch time.
Yeah.
Oh my! If you want to like just destroy your motivation, look at your watch time, because it's in. So I don't know what everybody else's is. I've looked at mine. If I get 30 to 50%, I consider it lucky. And that's, from what I understand, that's for the most part like 50. If you get 50%, you're doing something right. Because that means that like I just hit recently 3,000 subscribers. I don't get 3,000 views per video.
Yeah, right.
Like how long is the video though?
So let's say
15 minutes?
the latest review I just did was a game called Ball Jacks for the Mega Drive, and yes, there's a ton of ball sack type jokes, puns, just like I kind of skipped the line on like innuendos, like a lot of like sexual innuendos throughout a lot of my reviews. Any games with like scantily clad women in them, I'm usually talking about that, joking around or whatever, making a lot of stupid jokes, but. Most of my reviews are anywhere between, let's say, that video was about 12 minutes, and view count, I think, last time I checked was like 230 or something like that. I'm also on GameStar81.com as well. John's awesome. He puts up my videos, every time I post them, so he's a really cool guy. And it's just, view count is so much more important, in my opinion, than subscriber base. Because you could have, like, there's people that have, 30,000, 40,000 subscribers, but their view count is like
nothing.
1,000 views. You know what I mean? So like,
That's like me.
Yeah, like
I think he was talking about you the whole time.
Yeah.
Sub count is important in the sense that people won't watch somebody who has no subscribers, which is so terrible because there's
Great
reviewers
stuff
out there. There's a guy named VG Elucidator who does really cool videos, and he's like a graphic artist or whatever, and he does really cool videos, and he has like 300 subs. You know, another buddy of mine, Lucius Showcase, he's got like 500 subs, I think, something like that. And like he puts in time, and he puts out reviews every single week, and they're usually like 5 to 10 minutes, and it's all really fun, goofy, good stuff. And people just, nowadays you cannot see it. So like, in my opinion, it goes hand in hand. View count, you need just, you know, because people see like a video with like 7,000 views, they're gonna watch that over a video that has 100 views.
Yeah.
So that's super important. But like, people also won't watch you if you don't have a lot of subscribers. And people will also second guess your subscribers too. Like, people come up to me all the time or shoot me comments, and they're like, you need way more subs. And I'm like, all right, can you help me out with that? Yeah.
Get some grassroots campaign.
Yeah, right.
It's like the most appreciated, like most frustrating comment. It's like, why don't more people watch this? I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Every day.
Yeah. I think if I had a new sub for every time I got that comment, I'd easily be in like the 4,000 sub.
Before the Lyman start to talk to you about putting it on their stream?
It got, I use the Amazon Video Direct platform, which is essentially a YouTube-like platform on Amazon that allows independent producers of short form and long form to upload and put their material onto Amazon Prime, or Prime Video, which is a fantastic thing. The first process we had to deal with was, one, Amazon's user interface for this kind of stuff is kind of awful. It's not very intuitive. It doesn't have that gloss and easiness and options that like YouTube has. I mean, what you can do on YouTube, it's simplified, it makes sense, it thinks of the user. This does not. And it's still in beta phase. I basically, the thing that I had to do a lot of was email people at Amazon to be like, so what is going on here? Why can't I change this? Why can't I alter this? It's like, yeah, we don't have that functionality. It's kind of funny. But the process is, I created an account and I started submitting content and then key art and all this extra stuff that you had to submit. In order to be considered for Amazon, you also have to have all of your content closed captioned, because it's going to television, so they want it closed captioned. For the video game years, for example, I went through multiple rounds, because I put it all up there, put the closed captioning, got rejected. And it was rejected for content reasons, and the kind of vague content reasons, but it was really because of the persistent logos on the screen. Like if it says the video game year is 1985 in the upper right-hand corner, they don't like that. Or if it says retrowaretv.com and it pops up every little bit, things that might make more sense on YouTube for like short form and getting the word out, they do not want that. So that took a long time, amazingly. Going into these old project files and just removing that stuff took a while. So I did that and then resubmitted, and it was rejected again. And then I ended up having to email them and being like, oh, okay, can you tell me what the deal is? Because I took all the logos out. It was like 100 hours of work. Can you? And then they said, yeah, you're right. You're good to go. And then they launched.
Wow.
And it was shocking how much, it was a whole different audience. It's not a YouTube audience. I mean, while YouTube exists on most people's smart TVs, and like I spend a lot of time watching YouTube on television, this is the binge watching season and inhaling audience, and it was new to so many people. I found a whole new audience on Amazon, and it's been honestly 40, 50 times more lucrative than it was on YouTube in 2.5 months. So it's kind of awesome.
Knowing your audience is super important too.
Yeah.
Just because so the podcast that I mentioned that I do, Pixel Tunes Radio, it's anywhere between a 2 to 2.5 hour podcast that we do every other week. It's video game music centered, obviously the history of various different, we pick a theme every episode, I can give you a whole pitch, but we already had a panel on it and it was fun. So anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is I also upload it to YouTube, so my co-host Ed posts it on our website and through our podcatchers and everything, iTunes, Stitcher. But we also do a YouTube version of it where we basically just like take like a standard image, put it up, and then kind of fade it out, and then put the game when the game's music comes up. We put the cover art of the game, and then we'll make that fade out. And the views are in the toilet for that because YouTube is not a podcast. Like, you can't listen to podcasts on YouTube and expect to get like hundreds of thousands of views. So our normal listener base online is like anywhere between 700 to 1,000 listener count like per episode. So we get like maybe 50, 60 views, and that's in a week time span. So it's just, you have to know where you're gonna put stuff. Don't put a podcast on YouTube and expect it to flourish. It's gotta be like in multiple places.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my podcast. It's a YouTube version of the same thing, the placeholder image, and then you show it. But people still, like the diehards, want that.
Oh,
because
definitely.
they love seeing the imagery.
And some people need it too. Like, there's some people that listen. Podcasts are mostly, a lot of people listen when they're traveling or at work. So like, a lot of people can't access anything but YouTube, so they can't access iTunes or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't have an iPhone or whatever the case may be. So they'll listen to it through YouTube. So it is beneficial for some people, but there's some stuff like, we did an episode on Undercover Cops, the Super Famicom game. We did an episode on pretty much almost the entire soundtrack, and it got flagged to the point where, I didn't monetize it at all. It got flagged to the point where it can't be viewed in the US. So I had to post another video, a follow-up video being like, whatever happened to that episode, whatever, 83 or whatever it was, and I had to give an explanation. So there's stuff like that that'll hit you out of nowhere that you're like, oh crap, I can't do this. I think he had a question.
That was about actually your uploading something at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work in terms of, like, obviously the gaming gears I haven't seen it,
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is, but how does that work in terms of people are selling a show, obviously people are paying for it, but
It actually, when we did it because we thought, well, we have DVDs. People aren't buying DVDs as much anymore at all. But we could upload high-def versions of the show that we could make available, download to own. Spend $2.99, you get a full 1 hour length episode of the show. Or you can buy the whole season at a discount. Amazing, but we also made it available to stream for free for any Amazon Prime, subscriber. Anyone who has Amazon Prime Video, they could watch, any of the normal shows. They could, and then our show's there too. What I thought was going to be good for us was that ability for people to pay to download. What really was good was the streaming minutes. Basically, YouTube uses cost per 1,000 impressions, and that's how you get your advertising revenue share. There's no you can choose to do advertising on Amazon Prime, especially for short form stuff. That's what they want you to do, or you can do it. I have no advertising at all on this. The show you play, it goes, and it records how many minutes the show has been streamed, minute by minute. And that's streamed by Amazon Prime members. And then that accumulates, and you get paid not on a CPM basis. You get paid, if it's streamed in the US, you get paid essentially 15 cents for every hour of the show that gets watched. And that is a much better metric than what it can be on YouTube, and that can add up. So
I guess my question is, obviously the show has game footage in it.
yes,
Is that an issue in terms of being...
hasn't been yet.
It will be eventually.
We'll see. We obviously go forward with the commentary fair use aspect of this. And we're not selling the show necessarily. We're getting paid for that. Amazingly, I thought we would get flagged by Amazon for that. We didn't. But they also put it on you to do the clearance. So yeah, we are pushing the boundaries of fair use. We have rights-free music. We did get releases for everybody who's on there. Graphics are all original. Maybe it pushes a little bit when I'm showing like movie trailers, even though I'm putting attributions up there, but that is like review and commentary. So I haven't gotten any cease and desist orders or lawsuits yet, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. We basically said, screw it, let's go do this.
So basically, we should just flip this table and go to Amazon.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
No, it's I don't know. I think our show it didn't work as well on YouTube because it wasn't a YouTube-like show. It was a full-length show cut up into pieces. It was an hour-long episode that I cut up into pieces, and it just wasn't digested the same way, or it wasn't looked at that way. But when we made it full episodes, it's like we found the right medium.
It's so tough. It's so tough to figure out, like, okay, so I need to make this video, and I need to make this review. It's got to be between 8 to 10 minutes. Like, I don't think about it like that, really.
Yeah.
I think of it more in terms of pages, because when I write, I'll
Yeah,
write a
I do
script.
too.
You do too?
Yeah, it's like, well, I got to do, if this one's 7 pages, we're talking about a 30-minute show.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's like,
Yeah, I think my longest review was Resident Evil Remake, which I did with Game versus Game, and that was like tons of skits, tons of humor, tons of ridiculousness, and that was a long review. But it's my most, believe it or not, my most watched review. It's like at 7,000 something views, which is awesome.
Same with mine. Like, I get the complaints on the shorter reviews that they're too long.
Right.
My longest half-hour ones are all, they do great.
Right. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, my style of review I've always done. I do it that way. I am essentially like I sit down and I'm going to write an essay about this topic,
Right.
and then I'm just going to narrate it, and then I'll edit to that.
Mhm.
I'll edit to the narration,
Yeah.
and space it out where I feel like it's necessary. Add in things here and there, but yeah, I would go at it like a college paper,
Right.
which is a weird way of doing it because I have these like like the Police Knots retrospective I made, which is like an hour long in 3 parts. It's a term paper.
Yeah.
That's probably why I don't do them as much anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about the podcast. How do you
Yeah.
guys feel like, because we started up on a podcast, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Except we noticed like the matrix wasn't working with YouTube, so we started to split it up and we'll only put like parts of the podcast on YouTube that are really highlights that people actually are really tuning into the podcast a little bit.
Right. So our podcast is very heavily edited. It's not the sort of thing where we just hit record and then we talk.
Yeah.
We edit out so much stuff. I mean, all the ums, the ahs, the stuff like that. If we need to take a minute because my cat is climbing all over me, and we need, she's got the little jingle bell thing on her neck. So, it'll be like, all right, Zelda, come on, all right. So, stuff like that, for my dog's barking or whatever. So, we edit quite a bit. And so, because of that, like, we did get a lot of comments initially when we first started uploading to the channel with Pixel Tunes, and people were like, why is there no video portion of this? Like, for example, like Pat the NES Punk, he does the Completely Unnecessary podcast, right? And his format is really good for that because he speaks about specific topics. Where, like, for example, we did an entire episode on the first 4 Ys games, like Ys, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can't really split it up because people will be like, all right, well, that's dumb. You split up a 10-minute clip. Like, I don't know. It's just, we get we sometimes get comments for the podcast like, oh, well, can you supply a mixtape version of this? I go, yeah, it's on YouTube, youtube.com, and then type in whatever soundtrack you want, and it's right there. So I think people want like tailor-made soundtracks, compilations. So I'm like, yeah, we don't really do that.
No.
So, but yeah, it's tough to find your audience when it comes to podcasts, and splitting up a clip of a very, very heavily edited post-production show is very difficult. But if it's the sort of podcast where you just like hit record and you're like, you just want to get those like specific memories that are really, really hilarious, like people laughing, like, that would work. But if you're going to do a podcast and you want to put it on YouTube, you have to have video.
We have video on it.
Yeah. So if you have video,
But we
on
also
yours.
post the audio part too.
Right, yeah.
We
You have to do everything,
Yeah.
or else people get angry.
Yeah, no.
We have iTunes and all that.
It would just be.
Everywhere.
We thought about doing it, and we did it for one episode where we had a video intro, but you kind of needed it because we gave each other gifts. It was like a holiday winter episode, so we gave each other gifts, and we had to open them so people could see it. Because otherwise, if you just listen to the audio portion, you're just like, oh, what's this? Oh man, turbo graphics, like so. That's kind of what we deal with when it comes to the visual aspect. So
You guys do a lot of audio work on your videos? Do you record audio separately? Or?
we record audio through Audacity
Yeah.
for the clips, and then we will take a break after each when we're introducing the clip. And so we'll say, okay, this track is by so-and-so, whatever, composer, and then we'll play the song. We do post-production on the song, so we'll take the actual MP3 or WAV file for the song, and then we'll put that in between and then we'll bring the show back, be like, all right, welcome back. That was blah blah blah, and that's kind of how we do things. But yeah, we record through Audacity, edit through.
Audacity's great.
I edit through Audacity for the audio, and then I'll send him the clips, my co-host Ed, and then he does work in Sony Acid, I think it is. Yeah. So he's like a master of all that stuff. So it's good to know like somebody who knows how to mix. So that's the biggest problem that I always struggle with when it comes to audio is tweaking those volume levels so that way you don't have something that's too crazy loud, and also get a pop filter. Get a pop filter.
Yes.
That's it's $8. It's the best investment you'll ever make. If you have like a Yeti microphone or whatever, get a pop filter, like those Dragon pop filters or whatever they're called. Yeah. Those are sweet.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a opinion-based question. Your guys' thoughts here. My channel is a variety channel, so I do like movie reviews, food reviews, game reviews, like haunt reviews, and everything in general. Now, I've been told by one person that having too much on that channel with variety could kill the channel, and that someone tells me you're just fine. Like, do you think that too much variety is too much for the channel, or?
That's a good question.
It's again with like your audience. Do you want to focus on just getting all the people that like video games, or you're going so broad that it becomes unclear? They're like, well, I only like watching this one thing on your channel, so maybe you won't see a lot of views on the other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes out, it's your channel.
Yeah, because a lot of my reviews, I remember, was breaking 1,000 on most of them now.
Right.
So, but I just, part of me what says it's okay to do games, but the person's like, no, they want this.
Right. I mean, it's similar with my channel. Like I said, I have the DIY stuff, the vlog, and then the video. I try to keep everything kind of gaming related. So if it's a DIY, it has video game themes on it. But I also like to do music stuff too, and I'm like, well, it's my channel, I'm gonna upload it. People are watching because they like me, essentially.
Yeah. If it's balanced well, I think if everyone is satisfied with a certain amount of content. Like I've got Laserdisc stuff, and they don't want to hear about Blu-rays for the most part, and then I've got Blu-ray guys that don't want to hear about Laserdisc, and then someone else will do a book review, and nobody wants to watch that.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
You really can't.
But if you have enough of each different kind of aspect of it, then maybe everyone will be satisfied.
John Lester, I mean, Gamester, he had multiple channel format.
He did.
That was early that he tried that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that can work, I guess.
It depends.
But you did start bifurcating your subscribers, and like, you might not get people. People might like you.
Yeah.
But if you have a separate channel, the people that like you are going to have a harder time finding you, or you're going to have, if you have a single channel, you might introduce somebody who just likes who you are, what you've done in a game review, to your other kind of thoughts.
I get those comments. They're like, I don't even like what you talk about, but I just like watching the videos.
Yeah. We're slowly moving into just a review channel now.
Yeah.
I just overall review everything.
Yeah. I mean, I did, for example, 2 reviews for Ghost in the Shell. One was the PS1 game that came out, and that was a whole like skip-based thing, green screen, whole 9 yards. And then I did a follow-up episode right after that, which was the standalone Complex game for PS2. So I did the 2 reviews back to back, and then I went and saw the movie because I was like getting really. I try to like find stuff that interests me, and then I'll review that stuff and put it out there for people because I figure, hey, nobody's talking about this, so let me post something about it. So I made those reviews, and then afterwards, I was seeing everybody talking about the movie, the new movie that came out with Scarlett Johansson. So I was like, well, I went and saw it and I actually liked it, so I was like, I'm gonna go talk about it. And I posted that, but that was like the only video that I have on the channel that's not really gaming related, but it was more like topical. So like you could do stuff like that, but I think
Trended at the time.
Yeah, I think having too much of a wide focus is bad because then you're attracting too many types of people that may not be into everything that you're into, So it's like,
That won't follow up question to that.
Won't like it.
Right, sure.
Tags. What do you feel about the tag system? Because we talked about it 1,000 times. I used to do 200 tags every video.
Oh no.
And
I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't know how it ended up 200 tags, but in the end, I'm like, oh, I got 200. Okay.
I've been doing this for years. I have no idea what works with tags.
Do you use tags or no?
Yeah.
A small amount.
I've done 10, 15.
Yeah, no, I don't go beyond 8 maybe. With the reviews, I'll put, for example, I just did Ball Jacks, right, for Mega Drive. So you could also play it on Genesis. So I did like Mega Drive Genesis review, Mega Drive Sega review, Mega Drive and then I split up Ball Jacks too, because it's also like two words. I did one word because some people do one word. So that's, you got to kind of think like somebody, like the average person who maybe doesn't know the name of the game, and most people like driving while they're texting or whatever on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube misspelled.
Yeah, be like, I want this soundtrack while I'm driving. What is it, Ball Jacks? You know, so like that's kind of what I do. So I won't go more than like 8 to 10.
Well guys, thanks so much for checking out that panel. I had a really good time doing it and talking to a bunch of people after. I was surprised how many people actually came out to the panel and wanted to talk to us afterwards. This is the first year that they did anything like this, so at the Retro World Expo next year, they'll be acknowledging a few other local YouTubers, and they want to switch it up every year. So if you guys haven't started doing a YouTube channel, now's your chance. As always guys, I'm RussLyman. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.